Desert Bloom.
Again, you guys can find all of these decks if you guys follow us on Moxfield, which is easy because we are Commander Smiths. You just follow us there. You can check we have it under a separate folder, so it's the Precon upgrades, and we have all the Precon upgrades that we've done on there, and so you can see all the ones that we add in there. And again, the ones that are the budget ones are going to be all under $20, and then the other ones are unlimited. So, and make sure you give this a like. Sorry, I'm hitting the like button again. Go ahead, Larry. Desert Bloom. What are we doing here? What's this
Desert Bloom upgrades? We have Yuma. You gotta get to it.
Yeah, I was like, what does this one do?
Proud Protector. This is 5 colorless, red, green, white. It's a 6/6.
That card I just suggested should go in this deck.
What?
The one that you draw cards for your commander's CMC. Look at that.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. I was thinking that one would really go well in the Balrog Durin's Bane as well. That's at 8.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But again, I don't. I just took that apart. But okay, so Yuma costs 1 less for each land card in your graveyard, and whenever Yuma enters the battlefield or attacks, you can sacrifice a land, and if you do, you draw a card. And then, so kind of think of it this way: the commander tax goes away if it ETBs and you attack. That's 2 lands in your graveyard. Commander tax the next time it has been accounted for in that regard. And then whenever a desert card is put into your graveyard from anywhere, create a 4/2 green plant warrior creature token with reach. So what a lot of the deck has a bit of random mill in it. It likes lands in your graveyard for sure. I'm assuming it has like all the deserts possible in the land base. I didn't even look. So if there isn't one, add it in, because there's only so many deserts total. I don't even know if they've errated desert to be a desert, but I hope so.
Yeah. It does not qualify as being a desert.
That's sad. But you know, and also definitely if you have fetches, run them.
Oh yeah.
They're not obviously going to be in the Precon, and that can be in the Mr. Unlimited. I didn't put it there, but fetches, all.
And
good with it.
I guess the side note to all this is lands in general are things that we aren't going to change in these decks. Those are the easiest thing to change in the decks to make them run smoothly. So if we start adding lands, and Mr. Unlimited does not, or budget does not exist, because lands would get way too damn expensive. 1 fetch land gets us over the limit there. So okay, so you got 8 cards. Oh, go ahead.
So I cut 8 cards. Cutting Eccentric Farmer, Angel of the Ruins, Thrilling Discovery, Decimate, Descend Upon the Sinful, Marshal's Anthem, The Mending of Dominaria, and World Shaper. Actually, this is the one that I kind of want to talk about with the Mending of Dominaria and World Shaper. Both those cards bring all the lands back from your graveyard into play in some way or another. And it's not a bad thing to do. It's a little weird in this deck because you want
them in your graveyard. Yeah.
Right. And so for me personally, I don't want the all lands from the graveyard come into play. I would much more prefer
like Crucible Worlds or Rumming Up Excavator.
One at a time, maybe doing more, but more just getting ramp off that way and being able to still have those lands go into the graveyard and still be there. But that same idea of one or the other, they don't necessarily go together, even though they're doing the same thing of playing lands from the graveyard. One is bringing everything back because you're kind of a mill deck and you'll have probably a lot of land in there, or one is incremental value that you're kind of going to be able to get ahead of, but you're still playing to the strengths of having Yuma being roughly 3 mana no matter what part in the deck. If you're sacrificing a land, that's okay because you can easily get it back. But the thing with all of them, like if you have multiple cards in your library or your deck that bring all the lands back, once you do it once, the others are kind of dead. And so you don't want a lot of them, but if you don't draw them, the deck is kind of bad too. Right. So that's something that you want to go back and forth with. If you have Crucible and Exploration that is in my Mr. Unlimited section, and then you draw the Mending of Dominaria, World Shaper, they're not as good either. So like they kind of eat away at each other and they kind of kill each other. They are the same thing, but shouldn't be in the same decks.
Gotcha.
All right. Moving on to the ads. A card that brings all the lands back. Aftermath Analysis. All right, 1 into green, 1/3. When it ETBs, you're going to mill 3 cards. But this is the big thing. You get to control if you want the lands coming back. And so you can pay 4 mana, sack it, all the lands from your graveyard come into play tapped. And that's why I would choose that over World Shaper or Dominaria, because you can choose. And if it dies, that's fine, because you already got what you want, which is a cheap mill and a cheap blocker. And if you can block, have it be dying and sacrifice it, great. Augur of Autumn is a fantastic ad for any mill deck, like self mill, where it's in there. 1 and 2 green, it's a 2/3. You can always look at the top card of your deck and you can play lands from it. And then if you have creatures with 3 different powers, you can cast creatures off the top of your deck too. But this is kind of there for the land. All of that works together. You're going to be able to play more land or know if you want to mill a card or not. It's a really, really good card to get ahead of. So Azusa's Lost But Seeking is allowing you to play more lands during one turn. So 2 additional lands. So with Augur of Autumn, you can do 2 or 3 off the top of your deck, or Conduit of Worlds, which is the next one. You can play lands from your graveyard. That allows you to just juggle them from your graveyard into play. And if they're fetches or a desert and you want to be able to sacrifice them for ability,
plus
it just allows you to do much more.
That little built-in recursion on it.
With Conduit of Worlds. Yeah. Conduit is a great card, because if you don't have anything that you really want to do that turn, you can tap it and cast something from your graveyard, and you have enough random mill in this deck that you're going to mill something that you want back anyway, for permanent wise. So I've been really liking Conduit of Worlds right now. One that I would have suggested for your last deck as well, Faithless Looting.
It's already in the deck.
Is it? Oh, it is.
Yeah,
There's Careful Study as well. But draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards, has flashback. Cards invaluable in red almost all the time. Nissa Vital Force is a planeswalker I would add in, because it's -1 is returning a permanent from the yard to your hand. But the big thing is if you can +1 it, next turn you can -6 it for its ultimate, and that's whenever a land ETBs for you, you get to draw a card, which is crazy good in this kind of deck. And that goes for either version of bringing all the cards back from or all the lands from the yard into play, or if you have a Crucible of Worlds thing going on. Either way, fantastic card. Tiller Engine, cool card. Cheapest version that I guess it's not really the cheapest version, but 2 mana 1/3. Whenever a land ETB's tapped, you can either untap that land or tap target non-land permanent an opponent controls. A lot of your deserts.
So interesting little like Amulet of Vigor kind of type thing going on there.
Yeah.
Except better.
I don't know if it's better, but
because
cheap.
Because Amulet of Vigor, it's only the untap, and this one gives you a little choice on it. I like that.
That's true.
I like that you got an
but a lot of your deserts come into play tapped. Might as well get a little bit of bonus out of that. Zern Orb is allowing you. This is much better for the bring everything back plan.
Right.
All the lands from yard into
sack
play,
everything, gain your life, bring them all back. Yeah.
Bring it all back. So yeah, that's better for the bring everything back.
We're into Mr. Unlimited.
And those are the 8.
All right.
There.
What is your total amount there for your 8 cards?
That one's a bit more, $19.25.
You're getting close there.
I was getting close. I actually had Life from the Loam in there, and I had to take it out and put it.
What? That's your baby.
I know, but because we'll talk about it. But
all right,
Mr. Unlimited,
or you mean Mr. Universe?
Mr. Unlimited.
Did I put Mr. Universe?
No, you didn't. That was the last time.
Mr. Worldwide.
Oh, that's right, Mr. Worldwide.
But You have random mill. Anger's a great card in there with the unlimited. Burgeoning allows you to get more lands from your hand into play.
Oh,
Constant miss.
Look at you with your
allows-
constant miss. You are a dog doing constant miss.
What I do?
What are you doing, constant miss?
Yeah, it's a fog that you can sacrifice a land, maybe a desert, to get a 4/2, and then do it again, bring it back.
Yeah, you don't like when
but-
I play that card.
I don't like it when you play it. Yeah, I agree.
That's a good ad. I like that one.
You got Crucible Worlds, bringing lands from
Talked about
graveyard
that.
into
Yeah,
play.
like that.
Um,
Ooh, yeah, these
Dryad
are two
of
good
the
ones.
Elysian Grove, more lands per turn. Esper Sentinel,
Yeah, just white. We're playing
Duh.
there. Exploration. Nice.
Exploration, more lands per turn. Gyro Reach Sanitarium is,
One of your
if
babies.
you are milling, this is very similar to that idea of milling, but you're choosing what goes into you draw a discard. You're
Yeah.
looting, which
Yep.
is great. Horn of Greed, whenever any player plays land, they get to draw a card. And so it
You're
does
gonna be
help
playing
everybody.
But you're going to be playing more land, so yeah.
More
yeah.
than likely you're playing more land, so that's fine. And then Life from the Loam, dredging is milling, and that's what this deck is doing. You want to fill up, it kind of goes back and forth. So Sarah Paragon is kind of like a conduit or ruin, being able to play spells or land from the graveyard. This is just once per turn.
Spelunking.
It's another version of the Tiller or Amulet, like just lands coming into play untapped.
Mhm.
Sylvan Library, Tireless Provisioner for the treasures, and then Ren and 7 is a fantastic card, by the way. Anything that's running a ton of land, this deck's running 40 land, I would say do that. Like, I wouldn't lower it, the amount. But the +1 on it is reveal a top 4 cards and put all the lands in your hand and the rest in the yard. And then you can 0 it and put all the lands from your hand into play. The -3 is creating a tree folk that has power toughness of how many lands that you have in play. And I don't even know the -8.
Return all permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. You get an emblem. You have no maximum hand size.
Yeah, this one's probably one of my favorite planeswalkers that exists. It's so good.
Yeah. You
So-
love land. Yeah, I like it.
I love land.
You love land. So okay.
So, yeah.
So that is the total upgrades for the deck. If there's any other ones, maybe for the Mr. Unlimited or maybe some budget ones, you guys have, make sure you guys put that in the comments as well.
Right.
For this
What's
deck.
your favorite landfall card? Because you can add that into this for sure.
Right. There's so many
So-
landfall stuff.
so many
Landfall's
landfall
it's your favorite mechanic, but you didn't draft it first when we
It
did
is.
that.
Hey Meat Force, could you kindly tap the like and subscribe button? And if you're ever in the mood, head on over to commandersmiths.com and you can get the shirts and mugs you see on the screen and some other stuff. Thank you.